What's up, everybody? This is a first reaction. I know this is probably my second one. Over the weekend, I saw on Disney Plus Onward, the 2020 film by Disney Pixar. This one was streamed, due to the coronavirus and all that. So obviously, a lot more movies nowadays are being streamed. But anyway, so I gave it a watch over the weekend. Um, I would say probably out of five, I would give this one, I would say maybe a 3 out of 5. It was generally entertaining. Pretty much what the story is about. It's set in a world where the magic and elves and sorcery and like mystical creatures exist. Like weirdly enough, there's no humans in this world. It's all everybody's a creature. So it's like, or maybe I think what it is like mainly it's elves, but it's like, they almost look like Smurfs really, and then other mystical creatures here and there, and it's just pretty much like how it is like I guess in the world of magic and sorcery that kind of went away for modern technology. So it's pretty much just, elves living in modern day. And it follows the story of these two brothers, how they come across a spell where they're able to resurrect their deceased father through this spell, which they allow them to. I think the father is able to come back to life for a day, and so the brothers kind of come up with an idea that they could resurrect him, but something happened during the resurrection process that he becomes. He's only a pair of legs. So I've dubbed essentially he's half dad. So the rest of the movie is these two brothers going on an epic quest to, uh, you know, find another resurrection stone to fully complete the spell to get their dad back for that day. And the story goes along. It's more or less kind of like a brotherly compassion sort of thing like that. It has some heart where the two brothers are voice acted. The older brother is voice acted by Chris Pratt, who plays, I believe his name is Barley Lightfoot, and the younger brother Ian Lightfoot is Tom. I was gonna say Hiddleston, Tom Holland. I always get those two confused. But anyway, so they go on this adventure, and the brotherly stuff does shine in this movie. As time goes, and I think the marketing of this movie kind of is a little deceiving because they make it seem like the younger brother is kind of the main character of the movie, but in a way, it's supposed to be like, as I said, a brotherly adventure to whatever they're to try to get the stone to resurrect dad. But as the movie was going on, it very much shows that the older brother Barley, Chris Pratt's character, kind of seems to be the one who's the main character, or a lot of the character progression is from him rather than Ian, the younger brother. And there's a lot of good sight gags, a lot of fun little humor. Some puns here and there. Some of them actually I think kind of go a little overboard with the puns, and it's like, we get it, you like puns, especially when it's the mom, who's played pretty well by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She's in a relationship with a cop who is he's a centaur, and like everything about this character is a pun, and it's kind of not funny as time goes on. It's like, oh my god, we get it. But a lot of the other humor is actually pretty fun. Chris Pratt actually I think is probably the most entertaining thing of the movie, and I think, as I said, that's why I feel like the marketing kind of downplays it a lot. But essentially, and especially with his character, because he essentially is a history nerd, or at least their version of history, because their version of history is more like Dungeons and Dragons, like, oh, there's a mystical dragon and a knight and whatever, blah blah blah. To us, the human equivalent would be like, oh, if this guy was very into like the Revolutionary War, and like he would speak like, oh, for like our forefathers and Fort Knights and stuff like that, like if he just loved George Washington so much, yeah, something like that. But the movie had a lot of heart, as I said, with animated actually really well. There wasn't like some of the clever sight gags that they have especially towards the end of the movie where they have like the dragon they have to fight. There's actually a really funny little sight gag that they have for that. Um, but then as the movie ends, as I said, there's not really a lot of progression with the younger brother, but it's more like the older brother that has that character progression. But I also kind of feel like they don't really go anywhere with that as well. With this, I think this was also another movie where I'm kind of split on the title of the movie, because the movie's called Onward, and it's not really, I guess it's more subtle, like, because it's not like one of those movies where it's like they do say the name of the movie in the movie, but it's very, I feel like it's kind of like a throwaway line, but it also kind of has like a deeper meaning. It's kind of like you have to go onward with your life. You can't really kind of revel in the past sort of thing, and you just kind of have to go onward, which I think it's, maybe this movie could have been named something else. I just don't know what, but I think for what it is, it's fine. It's not one of Disney Pixar's best things. Like, it's not like it's definitely not a Zootopia. It's definitely not a Frozen or anything like that. I think if you show a kid this, or even, an adult or whatever, like, there is some fun to be had in this movie. But I think maybe it's just because of the situation when it came out right now with the Corona and all that. I don't know if it'll do very well, or be that memorable, but I think it was a good attempt, and it was a fun thing, especially the idea of half dad and kind of the sight gags with him as well. But I would say, yeah, 3 out of 5, give it a watch, especially if you're indoors right now, like everybody else is. Probably this will be your kid's favorite movie, for the time being, until the next Disney Pixar movie, whatever comes around. Yeah, give it a watch, and tune in for more of our stuff coming your way. Check you later.